I am an emotional eater. Today I want to shoot a video with 3 things that you can start doing today if you find yourself having these thoughts around foods or feeling really emotional or really out of control. Number 1, I want you to really dig into your food rules, your fears around foods, and any rituals that you might have. One that I hear a lot, I'll give you an example, is like, I can't eat ice cream or I can't have this in the house because I'll eat the whole thing. I'll emotionally eat it, I'll overeat it. It makes sense if you think about it. If you step back and think about it, you have these foods that are off limits, right? And when you have them, it's like that pendulum swing I talk about all the time. It's like these foods that are off limits, then you have them in the house, and then yes, you eat the whole thing. It's a binge restrict cycle. That's a pattern. And that's the thing that comes into play. It's the diet cycle, the restriction. Then you end up having something because you've restricted, and then you get the shame and the guilt that follows, and you beat yourself up and you hop on the next diet. Same thing with emotionally eating. Here comes the guilt, here comes the shame because you had something in the house that's usually off limits and you're doing this bad thing. So maybe there's a lot of guilt and shame around it. You find yourself in the closet, or you find yourself, just hiding and eating this thing that's off limits. Then the thoughts come that you might as well start eating it, keep eating the whole thing, get it out of the house. Diet starts tomorrow. How many of you guys are watching this right now and that sounds familiar to you? I want you to, number 1, dig into any fears around foods. Grab your journal, write them down, write down the foods that you fear the most, what foods you're restricting, and what rituals you have around it. Number 2, I want you to look at your feelings that you have and try to identify what you're feeling when you find yourself in this emotional state with food. Okay, so what are you doing when you're sad? Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling frustrated? Are you feeling angry? Try to identify those feelings when you find yourself emotionally eating. They're different emotions that you're feeling. And I want you to write out your core emotions: happy, sad, angry, frustrated, exhausted, tired, stressed. Write out as many of them as you can. Then we need to dig deep about how you need to honor and support every single one of these feelings, okay? Food will be used. It is okay. I do want to say that too. I'm not saying emotionally eating is a bad thing, but I want you to sit for a minute with your journal, write down those feelings, maybe not the feelings you're feeling right this exact second, but write down the spectrum of feelings and see which one of them is resonating with you, especially if you're having feelings to eat. Are you feeling feelings of deep sadness? And then I want you to sit with those feelings for a minute. When you have this feeling to eat, I want you to sit with the feelings. I want you to write in your journal. Maybe you don't write in a journal. Maybe you call your best friend. Maybe you say a prayer. Maybe you meditate. Take a few deep breaths. So all of these foods that you find yourself emotionally eating, I want you to think about it. Let's just say you ate a whole pizza. Okay, you don't know why you ate the whole pizza. You just did. You sat down, you started eating pizza, next thing you know, you're on autopilot, and maybe you're not even tasting what's going in your mouth. The pizza box is empty. So if this is you, What's the best tool that you need? I want you to take a moment to assess what's going on next time this happens. What is the best tool you need to handle the emotions you're feeling? I don't want you to guilt and shame yourself. I want you to get curious with yourself. So, is the best tool that you need for the job right now, for the emotion that you're feeling, is it pizza? And truly ask yourself that. Maybe you need to take 15 minutes or so, then revisit the pizza. So this is what I want you to do next time you're emotionally eating. First of all, identify the foods that you're fearing, the rituals around them, the rules in your head. And then I want you to think about the feelings. Number 3, identify if you're hungry or not. So if you're hungry, the answer is always this: yes, eat. If you're hungry, maybe there are some other things, if you're not hungry, that you need to do to help you tap into those feelings of sadness, those feelings of anger, frustration, stress, exhaustion, that list that you just wrote down in your journal. So if you're not hungry, maybe it's time to think about other ways, other tools in your toolbox, your kit that you can do. I would just say let's explore some other options that you can take care of yourself right now. So food can be one of those tools, but it doesn't have to be the tool that you reach for every single time. Sometimes I see clients get so deep into the emotional eating downward spiral. It's what I call it. If you are an emotional eater, you can identify with that downward spiral that I'm talking about right now. And what I want to suggest that you do is just brainstorm some ideas of how you can take care of yourself. I do this a lot of times with clients. What are some things you like to do for fun? What's something that you would enjoy? I want to finish this video just having an honest heart-to-heart chat with you all. So you have 3 things that you can kind of take now. Identify the foods, identify the rituals, identify the fears. Then you can get to the feelings and dig deep around those feelings that you're feeling. And then identify if you're truly hungry or not. And if you're not, what other tools can you put in your toolbox to take care of yourself? I will always say, if you're hungry and you're sad, if you're hungry and you're depressed, if you're hungry and you're frustrated or angry, you're still hungry. If you're hungry, you always need to feed yourself. So identify if you're hungry or not. And that is one of the tools that I will help you identify within yourself when we work together, is to get back to those feelings of hunger and fullness and tune back into your body. Now, let's finish off with a heart-to-heart, okay? I know that once you tap into this, that you'll realize that you do have other tools that you can use, that you can go to in your toolbox. I also don't want you to think that if you mess up and emotionally eat, that you're never going to be an intuitive eater. So here's the thing. Nobody is a master at intuitive eating. It's not like all of a sudden we can wave the magic wand before us and we can just stop and we're automatically intuitive eaters. This is something that we're working towards. And the biggest challenge that I can challenge you with today is to get curious. Lose the guilt and the shame and the judgment and get curious about why. That is the baby steps that it will take to progress you through this journey. because you're turning inward and you're trying to understand why you're doing what you're doing, and you're trying to tap back into your feelings of hunger and fullness. And these are the things that you need to do, not guilt, not shame. You guys, diet culture, I know I talk about it a lot, they've got their hands on intuitive eating now. And I really want to reframe for you what intuitive eating really is, because there's misinformation and misunderstanding out there. What it is it's focusing on behavior changes, how to learn how to respect your body. It is how to take care of yourself, how to tune into your body's hunger and fullness cues through self-care, not through control, restriction, always focusing on something that will make you anxious. Let me tell you what intuitive eating is not. Intuitive eating is not a focus on weight loss, beating your body up, restriction, control. Many times people are really hesitant to try intuitive eating because they get the idea that it's the pizza donut diet. It's not the pizza donut diet. And sometimes people will tell me that intuitive eating didn't work for them. And maybe I want to challenge you today to think of it in a different way. Maybe this whole intentional weight loss thing is not working for you either. So I also want to say that you are not the problem in this scenario. Diet culture is the problem. Diets set us up to fail. 95% of the people that go on a diet for intentional weight loss will gain it back plus. You guys, many people, I see a lot of people doing intuitive eating through the lens of Noom right now, and it's not going to work. Noom is the new Weight Watchers. I have talked to several people that have come on and off Noom now in cycles, and just the same as I've talked to people that have come on and off Weight Watchers for decades. And it's getting a little tricky to see. They're using terms like intuitive eating and they're playing with people's emotions because it's marketing. Because diet culture by the year 2023 will be a $278 billion industry. You aren't the problem in this scenario. Intuitive eating is not just eating ice cream and donuts all day, every day, pizza. It's not. But I think that people get the idea that it is when I'm talking about giving yourself permission to eat. And that is what we call the permission stage. And in that stage, you're learning to trust. You're learning to trust your body. And in order to do this, you have to allow yourself to exposure to foods that you are afraid of. And each positive experience you have with any food is going to build more trust and more confidence with you around food. And each little step will get you to that healing place, and you will become an intuitive eater. Your relationship with food will be better. So if you have avoided ice cream for so long, and that's one of the foods that you get around and you lose all control, then you reintroduce that into your diet, then of course, I think there's going to be a period of time where you might normally want it more. And it's going to be like a new shiny object for you. And then it will lose It'll lose its power. Over the course of time, it's going to become like any other food. This can be the most unsettling part of the process, and I get it. I get it. This is where working with a professional is going to help you as you navigate through these very tough parts of the process. There's, this misconception that intuitive eating is the ice cream donut diet. And I'm sorry to disappoint you that it's not. When we start learning to listen to our bodies and start paying attention to our emotions and tuning back in, you guys, donuts are one of the top demonized foods. You can have a donut. It's about deciding when you want to have a donut, when you want to have a salad. It's about making choices when you want to have pizza. Because it's about when you get to that point where you can say yes to the salad because you know you want the salad, not because you feel like you have to have it because it's on some clean eating plan. So food freedom is when you can say yes to the salad, yes to the donut. And because you chose either one, say you chose the donut, food freedom is when you don't feel like afterwards that you have to kill yourself working out to make up for it. It's letting your body self-regulate because you know that's what your body does. Because when you're saying yes to the salad and you're saying yes to the donut, you're saying yes to whatever it is you want, you don't have to make up for bad behavior. So intuitive eating is possible for everyone, and it's so much more freeing than diets can ever be. So on that note, I also realize there's a lot of tracking of your weight every day on diets, tracking calories, and having that sense of control. I want to challenge you today. What if you could just let go of that control and let your body be? Just be wherever your body is meant to settle. Whether that's higher, lower, or staying the same. Because I can tell you this, your life will be so much more fulfilling at that point than it ever was on a diet. So even if you just 1% trust me on this, I know it sounds like insanity to some of you guys, but if you could just 1% trust, because if you do, there will be a time when you're eating intuitively and you'll be out and you'll say yes to the salad, or you'll say yes to the pizza, whatever else you desire, and you're going to be able to think about all the other things going on outside of that, outside of the food, all the other wonderful things that are going on in your life and at that meal and at that point in time. And that's what this is about, because life is so much more, and health is so much more than what we put into our body and how we move our body. So much more. There's so much more. And with that, I want to invite you to take a peek at our Food Confidence Club. It's a membership, and I'm opening it for 5 days. next Monday through Friday. So if you're interested in that, I've included a link, and I will reach out and just check with you and see what your thoughts are on this video, because I know you guys that have said you wanted to see it, and I would love to invite you to take the challenge to learn how to eat more confidently and feel more confidently about your choices. All right, you guys have a great weekend.